Testing. We are good to go, it seems like. I would say so. Still don't have an intro for the show. I know. Wait, but you all been waiting 25 weeks for it. I think I should have it next week. We'll see. All right. Enough of that. Oi, fellow comrades. It is Squidtard here, with my boy Lucas Sharp over here, and as well as Julio Rodriguez, and welcome back to another episode of the Vol Star Podcast. Can't promise that we're going to run the full length of the show today. I am coming down with the case of sinus infection. At least that's what I hope it is, because did a COVID test today. It doesn't look like I have it, but I could do one tomorrow and I could have it. They're very unreliable tests, so I'm hoping that, fingers crossed that it isn't COVID, you know? I gotta say, low amount of people tonight for the show, and that's kind of surprising considering what happened on Saturday. You'd expect all of the Georgia fans to be rushing in here to let me know about it, but nope. I guess they're taking the day off today. Usually they troll 24/7. I guess today's an off day for them. They're spending Thanksgiving with the family.
Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well. Of course, it's Thanksgiving weekend. So make sure you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope you guys get to spend time with your families and eat delicious food. And of course, Thanksgiving is a wonderful, wonderful time. And I'm hoping that it's a wonderful time for everybody. It's also a wonderful time if you're a college football fan, because it is officially Rivalry week, and we got a lot of great games coming up. Of course, Michigan and Ohio State, both those teams undefeated. We get to host Vanderbilt, and for the second time this year, me and my boy Lucas Sharp will be heading to the game. So you already know they're not going to let us down. You already know.
Tennessee's undefeated when we're in the stands this year.
And looks like that might remain. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, truth be told, I think we can beat Vanderbilt with our hands tied behind our backs, so I highly doubt that we have anything to be concerned about. And that's good, too, because it's been a very rough couple of weeks for us Vol fans. 2 straight losses, something we haven't felt in a very long time. And it's weird to say that because usually Tennessee's always losing, but now we're sitting here disappointed with an 8-4 season. And I'll get to talk about that way more as we progress through the show. But first, before we get to the football talk, because there is a lot of football talk per the norm, there are some other things that I'd like to discuss. Of course, one of the big things is basketball continuing to progress. The Lady Vols beat Troy 100-73, so it looks like the Lady Vols are dominant per the norm. They're undefeated, as well as our men's basketball team. It's a good time to be a Tennessee basketball fan, I'll tell you that much. They look really good.
Yeah,
I think the Lady Vols have lost once. I thought they lost the opener.
Yeah, they lost to Florida. They lost to Florida State.
Oh, I thought that was last year. Oh well. Well, tough luck, you know. But you know, the way I look at it is, you improve every single week, you'll be in a pretty good position. So tough loss, but they'll rebound off of it. It looks like they have a dominant win over Troy, and hopefully we'll get to see that team progress further throughout the season. As for the men's basketball team, well, they just knocked off Syracuse, went on the road and beat the ever-living crap out of them. 73-56, the final score in that one. In case you haven't figured it out yet, the Vols are dominant in basketball. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we were technically the road team, but I think that was in Maui, if I remember correctly.
It wasn't in Maui because it was actually in Honolulu because of the Maui fires.
Right.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, I guess it's. Well, I thought it was in Maui because Maui Invitational, but yeah, I forgot it's in Honolulu this year.
But yeah, Tennessee actually had a slow start in this game, but then they picked up the pace. Dalton Connect played well, had 17 points. Josiah Jordan James had 16. I think Jonas Adu had like 14 points. What can I say? This was a team effort. It was a nice win. They was able to find a way to win, to beat I figure a pretty solid Syracuse team. Syracuse is usually a pretty solid team year in and year out, and we finally get to see like how really good this Tennessee basketball team is tomorrow night when they play the Purdue Boilermakers and Zach Edey.
That's going to be the match right there. Syracuse was undefeated heading into this game, so another undefeated win for the Vols. And yeah, as you said, Soiler makers, we get to play them tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. That'll really put the that'll really test this team and see what kind of potential is for this Tennessee basketball team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Excuse me. See what I mean? Respiratory infection. Not fun. Never fun. But it's that time of the season, I get this about twice a year, and I already got it once this year, and it was a really bad one, and that was, I think that was back in August. Yeah, I had to miss a few days of school. I actually started out the semester missing school. Really rough. So, thankfully it's not that bad, but, that's just the way it is. All right, anyway, fellas, let's move on to the football talk. This is what everybody's been waiting for. So, of course, for those of you in the comment section, make sure if you haven't already, give this video a like, or live stream a like, and sub up to Squidtard Sports if you haven't already. Also, Mr. Lucas Sharp and Julio Rodriguez, if you want to go follow them on Twitter, both of their links are down in the description below. And if there's anybody in the comment section, you want to ask anybody on the crew anything, or even ask to be on the show, because we got the off season coming up, and I'm going to try and get a whole bunch of special guests on here. We'll have a call-in show down the line. Going to be a great time here on the Vol Star podcast. So stick around for the long run, and you'll see what we've got coming up. All right, anyway, fellas, crazy week 12, huh? Really, really crazy week 12. A lot of action. Unfortunately, there weren't a lot of upsets. There were a lot of scares for quite a few teams, but they ended up coming out on the winning end. So I got some headlines here. First off, that we figured this out on Friday. Looks like Deion Sanders and Colorado are not going bowling this season. Ain't that
Dang.
Ain't that something? So, are we really all that surprised? Honestly, I guess I don't know. The way they beat TCU.
I know some people are surprised, but I remember trying to talk people down from the edge whenever they were trying to hype up Colorado after the TCU win. And I tried explaining to some of the people, which is that I guess they just watch college football for the first time in a long time, because they just saw that TCU was in the national championship last year, and they thought, oh well, they beat TCU, they were in the national championship last year, and that's a big thing. And while yes, that is a big win, and I'm happy that they've had some success this year and that they were ranked for a little bit and stuff like that. But here's the thing is that they just saw that, like I said, they just saw TCU was in the national championship last year, denied like any context behind it, which is that Max Duggan put the TCU team on his back, and TCU got a lot of lucky breaks to win the national champion, not win the national championship, but get to the national championship before they got steamrolled by Georgia.
Yeah, well, they also had that wide receiver hit the to the NFL, who he was really good.
Yeah, and plus it also helps that Michigan probably didn't think they were ever going to have to deal with TCU in the playoff, and Michigan probably didn't have the signs for them.
Yeah, probably not. We'll get on Michigan in a moment. I've got a lot to say about them, but Colorado not going bowling this season, got blown out by Wazoo, and well, I don't know, fellas. I've been hearing this go around. Did you guys know, when Shedeur Sanders was in like Pee-wee level football, Deion was the head coach for him. When he was playing in high school football, Deion was the coach for him. When he was playing at Jackson State, Deion was the coach for him. You guys seeing a pattern here? And now that he's at Colorado, Deion is there. I don't know. It seems...
So you're saying that when Shedeur goes to the NFL, Deion's going to be an NFL coach?
Very plausible, in my opinion. I don't know who'd pick him up, but it's very plausible considering just him following around Shedeur Sanders.
I think that Shedeur said he's coming back next year, if I remember correctly, and like someone said. Deion should be sued for child neglect for putting his son behind that offensive line.
Yeah. It just seems to me that Colorado is just incomplete. You guys thinking the same thing that I am? Because of course they've got some really good players. Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders. Those we can all admit that those are all really good players.
Yeah.
They just don't have anybody else anywhere. Their offensive line, like Julio said,
Yeah.
is just a disaster. It's literally made out of
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
shortest cheese that you could find. It's just
Well,
terrible.
So really, the only good players they got, like, at least from my opinion, like if I were to like say the best players on the team, it would be Shadur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter, and then what? Those two wide receivers from South Florida, Weaver, and the other one I can't remember his name. There was another. Oh, Jimmy Horn. He was good. I don't know what happened to them, but they were pretty good for at least the first couple weeks of the season. But and then Dylan Edwards. And then on defense, I can't really name anyone. I know they have Jawan Mitchell, but I mean he's always been inconsistent and injury prone. Um, I mean he's not bad. He played pretty well last year for us and stuff like that. But he's
Right.
also a little bit of a head case.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
I can't remember the name of the safety. He played good there for a little while. I can't remember his name, but I know they had a safety that
I
was
know.
playing good there for a little while.
I know Travis Hunter. He played on both sides of the ball.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
Yeah.
But we can at least all acknowledge the fact that it's going to take a few more years for Dion,
Yeah.
if he's a serious
Yeah.
head coach, to get a bunch of good players and turn
Yeah.
this team around, because it's not a 1-year fix.
Yeah.
We figured that out pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
I think he'll turn it around.
We'll see.
He just needs a few more recruiting classes. But I guess that's
Yeah.
what they said for Jimbo.
Yeah. And as bad
Yeah.
as that loss was for Colorado, it's way, way worse. Or it's way less worse than some of the other upsets here. And it's way less embarrassing than this one. Andrew, the textbook, actually pointed this out in the comment section. New Mexico State was probably the only team to pull an upset this weekend. In surprisingly blowout fashion. So I don't think anybody, I don't think anyone on here expected what that happening. New Mexico State picks up their first SEC win in blowout fashion on the road in Jordan-Hare against Auburn.
Yeah.
Looking ahead much to the Iron Bowl, probably?
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze already on the hot seat.
Nah, it's just a Hugh Freeze thing. Like I remember explaining this to Auburn fans, and I said, "Here's the thing with Hugh Freeze: he'll win you some big games, like he'll beat Alabama, and he'll beat whatever team is at the top. He might beat Alabama or Georgia, you know, eventually, but then he'll lose to someone like Memphis
Or New Mexico
And-
State.
yeah, and you'll be like, "What the fuck? Why? How are you losing to Memphis and New Mexico State?"
Lack of
Like, if I remember
preparation.
correctly, he's got 2 wins. He's got 2 wins against Alabama. He's got 2 losses to New Mexico State and 2 losses to Memphis.
Man.
Quite the trend we got going here.
And not to mention at Ole Miss, he kept getting so close to like winning the West, especially like that one year. I think it was 2013. Wait, no,
It was either like 14 or 15. It was one of those years.
Yeah, I think it was like 20. I think it was 2014. He was close to winning the West, but then he lost to Arkansas, which basically sealed his fate.
And then they went on a downward spiral, per the norm.
Yeah,
That's why I picked
Yeah,
them. That's why in the offseason I picked them to beat Georgia, because I thought Auburn was going to start out strong with Hugh Freeze, beat Georgia, and then do what they usually do and just kind of.
you almost got it right with Auburn.
I know
Like,
they're probably the closest ones to beating Georgia.
Yeah, like I said, Auburn's always a weird team too because they'll play like really good teams like Alabama and Georgia close, and then they always lose in a game that you can never explain.
Yep.
Like you just don't know how they lose it. Like I just don't know how do you explain losing to New Mexico State by 3 touchdowns at home.
You don't. The Auburn, that loss was so bad that it brought Tiger War Eagle 14, one of my good Auburn buddies. It brought him out of the grave, of the YouTube grave, and he came out after 2 years and made a video about it. It was that bad.
Yeah.
It was that awful. If I have the time after the show, I'll show you guys part of it. It's hilarious. But yeah, go check out Tiger War Eagle 14. Great guy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention this about the Colorado thing because it just came up on my mind. But the two South Florida receivers that transferred to Colorado, they said the reason they left South Florida was because they were tired of losing and stuff like that. And now South Florida more than likely will go to a bowl game while Colorado does not.
Yeah, I think
Womp
I think
womp.
South I think South Florida already clinched a bowl. I could be wrong.
No, they got to win next week at Charlotte, which I mean,
They'll
Char-
beat Charlotte.
Yeah.
They'll beat Charlotte.
Yeah. Now,
Charlotte.
Charlotte, what?
I think he was gonna say Charlotte stinks. I think that's what he was gonna say. Go Bulls.
Yeah, go Bulls, man. Hey, you know who that head coach is. You know who that
Yeah,
head coach is.
Well, I was gonna say Charlotte's like a bad team, but here's the thing: Biff Poggi is also like I don't know if y'all know who Biff Poggi is, who's the head coach at Charlotte. He was the head coach at St. Francis in the St. Francis High School that produced all those recruits and stuff like that in the DMV area. He's a really good head coach, and I think he's a good head coach, and he's a hell of a character too.
Oh yeah,
But like,
I know who Biff Pokey is. I remember
yeah,
during the American Conference,
yeah.
preseason, they only asked him like 3 questions, and he was so upset about it. He was like, "Really, 3 questions?
Yep.
It's probably because you picked us to finish dead last in the conference."
That's
he got upset.
Possibility, yeah. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on here. So, guys, I don't know. I'm starting to hear the talk that Michigan is very, very overrated this season because ever since they got caught with the whole Connor Stallion situation and cheating and the stealing signs, they have just not looked good on the field. So I don't know if it's a distraction or if it's just the fact that they can't steal signs anymore and they can't cheat. Which one do y'all think it is? Because people are calling out Michigan for being overrated, and they're picking Ohio State and the money line by a significant margin. So I want to know what y'all think.
Where's the game at?
It's at Michigan. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's in the horseshoe, I would probably take Ohio State because of having a coach that hasn't coached that many games. Even though I think Michigan probably does have a better roster, at least I think the only place that I would say Ohio State has like an advantage really would be probably wide receivers. Other than that, I feel like you could kind of argue on any of it. Other than like defensive wise, I think Michigan's got it, but like anywhere else, I feel like you could make an argument for Ohio State.
Yeah. Getting back to the comments real quick. What's up? Yes, sir. Glad you got to finally tune into the show. And what's up, Neo? Good to see both of you guys in the comment section. Andrew the Textbook says, I think it's just a distraction. That and ISOing Harbaugh has likely diverted the players' attention. Yeah, because that's the narrative. That's one of the narratives that I'm hearing. The other one is that Michigan turns out they're just a terrible team when they're not cheating. And I certainly don't believe that. I think Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum are two of the best running backs. And J.J. McCarthy, while he isn't a bad quarterback in my opinion, he has not looked good at all. Against Maryland, he completely just laid out a big old diarrhea stinky. So I don't really know what do you think about that. But Janine, Charlotte stinks because what's their record?
They're 3-8. Like I know
go.
Charlotte's bad, but here's the thing. I know Charlotte's 3-8, but keep in mind, Charlotte is a very young program. They're extremely young program. Oh, yeah. I'm very surprised they even won a game. To have a first year head coach with that young of a program at least win 4 games is kind of crazy when you think about it. Consider the American is one of the better group of 5 conferences in America.
Right. That is
Considering
true.
they have 3 undefeated teams right now in conference play with UTSA, SMU, and Tulane, which I think Tulane and UTSA got to play next week. So they're one of them is going to face SMU in the championship.
Yeah, right. One last headline I want to get into before we move on to rivalry week. Wow. So USC, their season comes to a big fat collapse. I thought they were going to dominate UCLA, but turns out I was heavily wrong. Chip Kelly, knowing the situation he's in, whether or not he is fired or not, decides that he was going to go out with a bang, and he just outright completely dominated USC. And that'll likely be the end of Caleb Williams' tenure in college. Rough way to go out, and what a rough season. I think a lot of people had USC making the college football playoffs this season, so to see him fall off this hard, I mean, that's, I guess, with the defense and the Alex Grinch thing and the fact that he wasn't fired in the offseason, I guess this is what a lot of people think is the expectation, but wow, 7-5 was not what I was expecting.
So here's the thing. USC got kind of lucky with turnovers last year where they didn't turn the ball over as much. Like, they barely turned the ball over. And they also got a lot of lucky breaks when it came to the bounce of the ball. Like, a lot of people fumbled against them and stuff like that and just made really bad turnovers.
Well,
and this year, the Pac-12 is a lot better.
Yeah. Well, their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed.
USC was very opportunistic. Like I said, their defense, it kind of reminded me of ours from last year, where it was just kind of really opportunistic and won us a lot of games that we shouldn't have.
Right, I hear you.
And
let's see.
And
go ahead.
And that's all I was gonna say, was that I feel like ours and USC's defenses last year were just kind of the same, in that they weren't the best or whatever, but they were just opportunistic and, took the most of them whenever it counted.
Right.
And then, we seen what happened, with us and USC. We kind of both fell off, because even though Tennessee's got better, we're in the SEC, which, here's the thing. The Pac-12 is actually pretty top-heavy. So, USC lost to most of the top, teams. So, there's no shame in that. But especially with someone like Caleb Williams, you should at least be competing for the Pac-12 title and not going 7-5.
Well, think about it this way. It wasn't like USC just lost to the top teams and then just, won the rest of the way. It was a whole lot less than that, because, they lose to a UCLA. They get blown out by a UCLA team that the week before gave Arizona State their first Pac-12 win of the season. They lose to a Utah team that pretty much doesn't have a existent offense. And of course, they lose to both Oregon and Washington. We all saw that one coming. But Notre Dame, that was the other loss. And Notre Dame's reeling too.
Well, another thing is with USC and UCLA, that's a rivalry game. So I kind of always, expect the unexpected in those games.
Right, but you can't go off of just that, because the most talent. Like Georgia, Florida. Bama, Auburn, as we'll find out next week probably. Some of these games are just going to be extremely lopsided. Let's see. Getting back to the comments. Lincoln Riley on the hot seat heading into next year.
Nah.
I think he'll have a lot to answer for, and if USC has another down year like this year, I could definitely see that, but not this year.
Lincoln Riley should just be an offensive coordinator if he's just going to keep having terrible defenses like this.
Let's see.
I think where I think he should be the offensive coordinator if he was hired. Iowa should hire him. Iowa can win a national championship if he were to go.
If he were to become an offensive coordinator at Iowa, then the country is finished.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's over. Let's see. Neo says, if Bama doesn't get into the playoffs, I bet Bama doesn't get into the playoff, even if they beat Auburn and Georgia. I don't know.
It's going to be hard, too, because Texas will get in over.
Yeah, if Texas wins out, they're going to get in over Bama. Georgia probably still gets in, because they'll be 12-1. Who are the Pac-12, Florida. I'm going to get back on Florida State in a little bit. There's a lot of.
I will say. Go on.
I was going to say, it kind of depends on the Pac-12 championship too, with Oregon and Washington too. Because they would probably have to put they'd have to put Oregon in, because they would avenge their only loss.
Oh, excuse me. And. Go ahead.
And honestly, I think if Georgia goes 12-1 and loses in the SEC championship, call me crazy. I don't think they should get in because I don't know. I feel like a conference champion should get in over like a one-loss team who hasn't won a conference championship. Like,
Plausible thought, yeah.
yeah, like if Texas finishes 12-1, Oregon finishes 12-1, Ohio State or Michigan finishes 13-0, and Florida State finishes 13-0, then I think those should be like the 4 teams that make it in.
I am interested though with the stigma around Michigan. What are they going to do with that, I wonder? But anyway, enough about last week. I think it's time that we get a preview of what we're looking at for this week because there are a lot of great games coming up, as we know. Rivalry week, big games coming up, as we all know. And I feel like, okay, hold on. Let me before we get into this, let me just get back to the comments real quick because after that I'm going to transition over to this screen and I won't be able to really look at the comments. Let's see. Weird things happen when Alabama plays at Jordan-Hare, but I think it won't be close this year. Yeah, well, because I talked about a couple of weeks ago when LSU and Auburn played how that game's always close no matter which team is good or bad, and then LSU proceeds to literally massacre Auburn to the Shadow Realm. So I have a little doubt in my. I mean, it's possible Auburn was just looking ahead, but what do we know? I say that the final championship game is going to be Texas against Florida State. No. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
I think the Natty will probably be either Georgia versus Ohio State or Michigan.
Something like that, yeah. Imagine having to pick between one-loss Louisville, Florida State, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, and Washington. No, all the playoff scenarios, it's going to get more and more intense as things progress, but I'm looking for this week or definitely next week to see some upsets. And, no team is
Well, I
clear-cut
can
in
tell you who's
playoffs.
definitely. I can definitely tell you, even if Louisville wins the ACC championship, I don't think they get in because of that loss to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's going to be
That
hard
was
for
an ugly
Louisville.
loss, yeah.
If Louisville wants to make it in, of course they would have to win out, and they're going to need a lot of help, like a lot of help.
All Louisville had to do was not shit the bed against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. I guess they were celebrating that victory over Notre Dame.
Yeah. All right, guys, you ready for week 13, rivalry week?
Whee!
Let's waste no more time and get right into it. All right. I hate it when you load onto ESPN. 2 things that I hate the most when you load onto ESPN. One, of course, is the stupid embedded ads that they have that play in the top right corner in a little box, and they'll just play automatically with the audio on. It's so stupid. Luckily, I make sure to stop it every time, but it really pisses me off. Really pisses me off.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So I'm gonna switch the display here real quick. All right. So I want to start out with, of course, the big Thanksgiving match. I look forward to this one every single year because it always winds up being a pretty fun and entertaining game to watch. Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Mississippi State 5-6 right now. They need a win against their bitter rival Ole Miss in order to participate in a bowl game this year. And with Zach Arnett being fired, I wonder if it's going to be... Of course, it's make it or break it time for these guys, the Cowbell boys. They're at home. And Ole Miss, there's a lot on the line for them, too. They want to make it to a New Year's 6 this year. And if they lose this game, they're definitely not making one. So they need to win this game and impress whatever committee is going to be looking at them. So what do y'all think is going to happen here? Do y'all think Ole Miss is going to go on the road and win, or is Mississippi State going to win in Thanksgiving?
I think Ole Miss is going to win just because they fired their coach or whatever. Unless, sometimes that could add, motivation or whatever, but I just think Ole Miss has just got a better roster.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Ole Miss as well, and sorry about the noise. I don't know, but
What
yeah,
noise?
I'm gonna take Ole Miss as well.
All right, yeah. I guess we're all in agreement on this one. Give me Ole Miss. I think Mississippi State has already forfeited their season with that, with the firing of their first-year head coach. All right. Let's see. I mean, there are a couple of teams here that desperately need to win, otherwise they're not going bowling. TCU's won, but I think we're all in agreement that Oklahoma's winning, right? On Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Iowa on the road against a 5-6 Nebraska. I find this one pretty interesting because if Nebraska loses this game, then I would consider it a pretty bad year for Matt Rule. I think a lot of Nebraska fans had expectations to make a bowl game this season, but I don't know.
Here's the thing with Matt Rule. He usually doesn't make a ball game for like the first year or two, depending on where he goes. But he usually took over a lot worse programs. Like Baylor, he went what 1-11 his first year. And then they went what was it like 5-7, and then they turned around and won 11 games like year 3.
Yeah, and I think they almost somewhat made the playoffs one year.
Yeah, so I mean. Yeah, all they had to do was not blow a 28-point lead to Oklahoma. Somehow they outchoked Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell they did that, but
See ya, yes sir. Glad you got to tune into the stream for a little while. Something I do find pretty interesting is that I look at these spreads, the line, and look at that. Look at you guys can't even see the screen. I'm so sorry. But
one other thing I will say about Nebraska is that 5-7, especially with Jeff Sims, considering how bad Jeff Sims has been at quarterback and how bad Marcus Satterfield is as offensive coordinator in the Big Ten, is actually not that bad.
Yeah, there's definitely
like
worse.
I know some.
Wait, Nebraska's favored.
Wait, they're favored?
Yeah, it says
that's what I was getting to. Nebraska is the favorite in this matchup. I find that to be really interesting. Iowa right now, of course, almost top 15 team, 10-2 on the line, and Nebraska's the favorite. I find that to be pretty interesting.
Damn, that's crazy. I know Lincoln's a hell of a stadium, but I didn't expect them to be like 2.5, 2-point favorites.
Right.
Iowa wins. Nebraska wins. They rush the field.
Maybe, probably, because that'll be bowl eligibility for the first time since 2016. Now, I can't remember. Remind me, you guys. Nebraska played in a bowl game that year in 2016. Can y'all tell me who beat the crap out of them that year?
I can't remember.
I can't.
It was some orange team. I think they rhymed with like Tennessee,
like the Volunteers.
Yeah, the Volunteers, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah,
I think that's who it was.
Probably. I don't know.
It's kind of crazy that Butch Jones dominated the Big Ten so much.
I know that is crazy. Unfortunately, we couldn't continue the streak because I remember he blew out Northwestern in 2015, Nebraska in 16. Jeremy Pruitt beat Indiana in the Gator Bowl in 19, and then unfortunately that all came crashing down because the Music Shitty Bowl.
We got screwed in that one. Doesn't count.
We never go back. Yeah, Mickey
Mouse.
Yeah,
asterisks.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, you're right.
Mickey Mouse win.
Oh, that is Mickey Mouse. All right, fellas. Moving on to the next one. So, unfortunately, Arkansas already out of a bowl game this year. Now, do they put up a fight against a top 10 Missouri this week?
No.
I guess we're all in agreement.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, it is rivalry week, but I just don't see it.
Arkansas don't consider Mizzou a rival, remember?
Oh, wait, do they not?
No. Have you not seen like multiple? There's literally multiple Arkansas fans that say they don't consider Missouri a rival.
Well, that's because Mizzou dominates the series, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so it's not a rivalry. Because Mizzou owns them, so it's not a rivalry.
I think Arkansas only has one real rival then, and that's Mississippi State or Ole Miss. It's one of those two.
I know they said they like to consider Texas a rival, but I mean...
Oh, Andrew the Textbook brings up a great point. The Iowa-Nebraska game has an over-under of 26.5. Would y'all take the over or the under in that one?
Give me the under. I want it to be a sicko game.
It's gotta be.
What game?
The Iowa-Nebraska game. 26.5 for the over-under.
Give me the under.
Give me the under.
I want it to be like 5-2 final
And it
score
probably will
5-2.
be. We're going to be looking
Final,
at it in the third
final
quarter.
score 3-2.
It's going to be 6-9. 6-9.
Funny, funny you mentioned 3-2. Did y'all know that Auburn and Mississippi State played the 3-2 game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
I know that. I know, like every single year people bring it up.
Yeah, it's
no,
one of the biggest sicko moments of all time.
We should do a live stream and watch that entire game to see how bored we can be while watching
I'd honestly probably die in the middle of the game.
Yeah, YouTube would shut me down before we even get finished with it. And honestly, I don't even think they'd shut me down for copyright. I think they just shut me down because nobody's watching. But anyway, moving on to the next game. There are a lot of sleepers here, but this one is huge right here. Friday night, 8:30 on Fox. Number 11 Oregon State going on the road to number 6 Oregon. The Ducks, of course, Oregon State played Washington down to the wire last week, and now they got to go travel on the road to play in Eugene against the team they beat last season. Do y'all think Oregon State does it again and knocks Oregon out of playoff contention, or will Oregon hold on and get the dub?
I think since it's at Oregon this year, I'll take the Ducks.
Yeah, since it's at Oregon, I think Oregon's just the better team. I'm going to take Oregon, even though I feel like Oregon State would, of course, love to send Oregon to the Big Ten, knowing that they lost the last Civil War game for the foreseeable future.
Sounds a lot like Oklahoma State, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. From what I heard, that they might be renewing the Civil War for a couple years, because I know the Apple Cup is still going to happen, even though Washington State and Washington are not in the same conference anymore.
Well, we'll see if the Big Ten plays along. It's just a matter of whether or not they let them.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, Washington and Washington State are still going to do the Apple Cup,
and we still don't know how the Pac-12 is going to. Of course, because the Pac-12 is going away. We still don't know.
It's gonna be the Pac-2. The Pac-2.
Yeah, I still don't know what's going to happen with Oregon State and Wazoo. I really don't know what's going to happen with them. I'm sure we'll figure it out, though.
I feel kind of bad for Jonathan Smith because he finally got his alma mater to be decent, and then he just got fucked over by realignment.
Well, one thing's for sure, though. Bo Nix, Heisman. Or the Heisman race is, of course, between Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Whichever one performs better, I think, is going to be in the front runner of the Heisman. Pretty much whoever wins the Pac-12. I guess we can all agree on that. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that one next week because I expect Oregon to win.
It is kind of crazy that I think Jaden Daniels has, 6 more touchdowns than them and 1,000 more yards, but he's not being considered just because he's on a worse team.
Yeah, right. All right, guys. Next up. Of course, we've got to talk about this one. The big one that everybody's been waiting to see. Number 2, Ohio State, undefeated, going on the road into Ann Arbor against number 3, also undefeated, Michigan Wolverines. This is where we'll figure out whether or not Michigan is actually overrated or if the sign stealing was just another way at trying to get a match over their opponent, but they're also still very talented. The point is, we'll figure out a lot about both Michigan and Ohio State in this matchup. But now I ask y'all, who are you going with here?
Julio, you can go first.
I guess I'll take Michigan. It's at their house, and the line's only 3.5.
Yeah.
But then again, I also wouldn't be surprised if they lost, just because they have a head coach that's only coached 3 games.
Yeah, I think so. Something I heard that is pretty funny is that Ryan Day should be on the hot seat if they lose this game.
Well, some people said that Ohio State will fire him. Now, keep in mind, I don't think he's lost a Big Ten game ever to anyone other than Michigan. Give me 1 second. I shit you not. Give me 1 second. I'm pretty.
What? Wait,
here's the question for Ohio State fans. If Ohio State went 1-11 with their only win against Michigan, would that still put Ryan Day on the hot seat?
No. Seems like this is the only game that matters to him. So they absolutely need to win this one.
Yeah, yes. Ron Day is 38-2 against the Big Ten,
And
and
his
two of
only
those
losses
losses are
to
to Michigan.
Michigan.
Yep,
Boy,
and
that's got to make LSU fans mad.
yeah, and he's 55-6 overall, and they're like, yeah, fire him if he loses to Michigan. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I mean, like, that's like your only blockading, which I understand. Like, oh, you lost, 3 years in a row, but like,
Here's the thing, though. I don't feel like it's because that Ohio State's gotten worse. It's because Michigan has gotten better.
Well,
Like,
allegedly gotten better. We still have to figure that out with the signs and stuff.
yeah, which I mean, heck, if they beat him this year, I mean, I guess they, he saved his job or whatever. But I just don't understand the logic of firing him. Which I understand people that, oh, it's their biggest rival. But here's the thing: you just got to get better. Like, even if they, cheated or whatever, everyone fucking cheats. I'm sorry to tell people this, but people are gonna look for any advantage.
The only difference
I
is
don't really
Michigan's the
fault.
one that got caught, and they also did something
Yeah.
incredibly stupid. So take from that what you will.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I'm guessing y'all are riding with Michigan here.
yeah, since it's being played at the big house, and plus, honestly, I think Michigan's the better team. Call me crazy. Even despite the sign stealing stuff and, the coaching stuff and all that stuff, I still believe Michigan's the better team. Give me the Wolverines.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Michigan plays with the chip on their shoulder after all the drama that's been going on the past few weeks. And I think because Michigan did this exact same thing last year too, where they played really terrible against their last few opponents. They needed a game-winning field goal to beat Illinois, and it was like a record-breaking field goal by Jake Moody, and that was their only way they could beat Illinois. They go on to the next week and destroy Ohio State in the horseshoe. So, I get the sign stealing and beat boo boo bop. I get all that, but give me Michigan to get the win over the Buckeyes. All right, Kentucky and Louisville. Louisville, of course, in the top 10. They're 10-1, going up against Mark Stoops and Kentucky. Kentucky's had Louisville's number for a little while, but do y'all think they can get the win on the road here?
God, I so want Kentucky to win just to watch the Louisville meltdown.
I think the Kentucky
Then,
meltdown would be funnier, honestly.
I mean, I understand the Kentucky meltdown, but like, I mean,
They're fed up with Mark Stoops, and I imagine they'll be even more fed up if they lose this game.
yeah, I know some people are like, oh, well, we're fed up with Mark Stoops, but like, bro, he's probably your best coach of all time, other than Bear Bryant.
Right, yeah. So who are y'all taking?
Let's see what's the line 7, Louisville. I mean, I'll probably take Louisville. But then again, I mean, like I said, Kentucky's had their number, so it also wouldn't surprise me if Kentucky pulled it off.
Yeah.
But I'll take Louisville.
Yeah, give me the Cardinals. Of course, they're going to try to play hard to, of course, try to make the playoffs, even though they're probably not going to make it. But yeah, give me Louisville.
Yeah. All right, yeah, and I'll take Louisville as well. Shout out to Kentucky for another bowl season, and well, congratulations! Yay! Whoopity! I'll give you one of these, a gator chop. Yeah, no, never mind. That don't scare him.
Give him a sticker.
I would give him a gator chop, but that ain't scaring nobody. Anyway, let's move on to the next game here. Texas A&M 7-4. You'd think with that pretty good of a record that they wouldn't have fired Jimbo, but yep, they are 7-4, going on the road into Baton Rouge to play the team that they beat last year, number 15 LSU, who is 8-3 and looking for a 9-3 season. What do y'all think's going to happen here?
You know what?
LSU.
Give me A&M just so they can finish 8-4, and the 8-4 jokes get to go again.
That would be pretty funny, yeah. We get to live through the
jokes.
jokes.
I think LSU more than likely, but like Luke said, it would be hilarious for the end of the Jimbo Fisher era to end on an 8-4 season like always.
That would be pretty funny, yeah. As funny as that is, I've got to ride with LSU here. Jaden Daniels looks just too good. I don't really see A&M getting past that. Now, also A&M's offense is putrid, and even with how stupidly, comically bad LSU's defense is, I still don't think it'll be enough to thin the gap any. So give me Jane Daniels and LSU. All right, moving on now. Skipping a lot of these games because beep beep boo boo bop. Who cares? All right, Iron Bowl. Number 8 Alabama going on the road into Jordan Hare to play Auburn, who, as we all know, lost in the most embarrassing way in a very long time. Alabama's coming in as a 14.5-point favorite. Who do y'all have winning this one?
Alabama.
Yeah, give me Alabama as well. I mean, even though Auburn, they always play Alabama tough in Jordan Hare. Alabama's just the better team.
It would be the most Auburn thing ever, though, to beat Alabama right after losing in a blowout fashion to New Mexico State. Just pointing that out. And somebody's in a tornado right now.
Barn, like they always say, barn gonna barn.
These two games are pretty much the exact same thing, aren't they?
What? Oh, Arizona and
Yeah.
Arizona State versus Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
these two almost feel like the exact same game, but we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll have a lot to say about that. I'm skipping most of these games. Look at Rutgers 6-5, bowl eligible. Oh, yeah. Liberty 11-0, looking for a perfect 12-0 season if they go on the road and beat down UTEP. But can they do it? UTEP is 3-8. They got 3 wins under their belt.
Let's be honest, they're beating UTEP,
and that sickens me. I need me
Rank.
like a because ever since I got that Kansas shirt last year, Kansas has been on a roll. So I need to get me a UTEP shirt.
Yeah. Rank Liberty. Hashtag Rank Liberty.
Yeah.
Is Liberty the most fraudulent undefeated team of all time?
By a significant margin, but they are undefeated. So yeah. I guess JMU was at one point, but they already lost. So
Hey, Caden Salter's their quarterback. He's played pretty
Who,
well.
Liberty?
But I mean, look at the
oh
schedule.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's had a really good season. Wish we still had him.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but Kentucky basketball right now is heading into overtime with St. Joseph's.
Uh-oh.
Oh God! Not
Ding
not
ding.
the St. Peter's again.
Ding ding, peacock alert, peacock alert.
Not St. Peter's. St.
Oh,
Joseph's.
I know, but that's still pretty funny. It's almost reminiscent of what they experienced last time. So yeah, that's funny. Keep us updated on that. All right. All right. I want to talk about this one for a minute. Number 4, Florida State going on the road into Gainesville to play the Florida Gators, who are 5-6 and in desperation mode for a win. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and before you guys say anything, I'm gonna go ahead and give my pick on this one. Florida State loses to Florida. I think Florida State gets beat by Florida. Of course, I mentioned Florida in desperation mode. They go on the road and play Missouri down to the wire. So it's obvious that, Graham Mertz is having a really good season, I think. And he's a good quarterback. And originally, even without the loss of Jordan Travis, I felt like Florida State was on significant upset alert heading into this matchup. They're going to be playing Florida at night in Gainesville. Everything on the line for Florida. There's so much they have to play for. And honestly, it feels like a TCU situation from last year where TCU or Florida State could lose this game and then still be fine and control their own destiny. So, not that it'll play out that way, but it feels like that. So I think Florida has much more to play for in this scenario than Florida State with the home field advantage and with the crowd advantage, and it's at night. Yeah, give me Florida.
Well,
it is important to note, I forgot about this. Graham Mertz is also injured, so it's going to be a backup versus backup game. I kind of forgot about that. But Florida does have the better run game, in my opinion. All right, anyway, progressing onward. You go ahead.
I was going to say with Florida State, I mean, I don't know how good their backup is and stuff like that. Considering it's going to be more likely, like you said, the two backups going at it. Here's the other thing, though. I feel like if Florida State loses, they're automatically eliminated from playoff no matter what, because I don't think they're going to put them in with a backup quarterback. I feel like they have to win out to still get into the playoff. And then they might could get screwed even if they win out, because the playoff committee might not want to put him in with a backup quarterback.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I did forget about the fact that Graham Mertz was injured when I said Florida State loses to Florida. Did forget about that. But it is important to note that I do think Florida has the better run game in this matchup. I do think Florida State's got a good passing game. And, of course, I think, what's the over-under at? 50? They're going to hit that. I'm hammering that the over on that. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring matchup like last year, except this time I think Florida comes out on the winning end. I think they control the game through the run, and I think the Gators get the job done and win and get to bowl eligibility. Now, whether or not they have a winning season under Billy Napier, that's still yet to be figured out, but, yeah.
All I just gotta say is, give me the nose, baby. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Noles just because I want Florida to lose.
Yeah, right. Is it even worth covering Georgia Tech? Honestly,
Come on, Brent Key, spoil this season, Brent.
yeah, really, yeah.
If Georgia Tech somehow pulls this off, I will make a video 1 hour long of me singing Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech.
I won't even do it. The first thing I'll do is just go directly to either Rec Talk or Sea Dog's channel and watch them explode. It'll be a phenomenal thing to watch.
But yeah, that'll be the thing. If Georgia Tech somehow upsets Georgia, I'll make a 1 hour video of me singing the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech.
That would be pretty funny. All right, Clemson, who 7-4, had some really good games these past few weeks, going on the road into Williams-Brice. South Carolina beat them last year, and now South Carolina has to do it again in order to make bowl eligibility. Everything's on the line for the cocky walkies, but do y'all think they can get it done?
I mean, it is being played in Williams-Brice, but Clemson, I feel like, has been playing a little bit better than they have. I don't know. I feel like that Tyler kid has lit a fire into this Clemson team. Give me the Tigers.
Yeah. They look like a way better team than they did at the start of the season. Julio, what's your take?
Yeah, that's say the same thing. I might have gave South Carolina a better chance if Xavier Legette was not injured, but he's injured, so
Yeah, very tough loss.
and Juice Wells, and I think Juice Wells is also injured, so
Yeah, man, they can't get enough of that. That's extremely rough. But yeah, anyway, I think this will be close, but I expect Clemson to win this one in the end. I just don't think South Carolina's got a lot. Because Clemson's got a good defensive line. This is going to probably be a low-scoring game. However, I do think Clemson wins outright. We'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. All right, number 20, North Carolina. They got beat by... Well, they're not going to be number 20 after the playoff... the playoff thing comes out because they lost to Clemson. But they're both them and NC State are 8-3. North Carolina coming in as 3-point favorites. Who do y'all got winning this?
Since this being played at NC State, I guess I'll go with NC State.
All right.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. Yeah, give me the home team.
Man,
Give me NC State.
That is tough to call. Didn't NC State beat North Carolina on the road last year? I gotta be honest, it's hard. Even with as bad as North Carolina has been these past few weeks, I don't think it's enough to thin the gap. I think North Carolina is a much better offensive team, and I think Drake May has a really good game here, and I think North Carolina gets the W. And, well, that'll be it. We got a full house in here tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, give the Vault Star Podcast a like, and sub up to Squidtard Sports if you haven't already. Make sure you check out these fellas here. We do this show every Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we've all solidified that as the official time of the show. I think you all can agree with me on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've gotten our picks in. Now it's time to move on to the last segment of the day, which is, of course, our favorite segment. We get to talk about these guys, the Tennessee Volunteers, against the Vanderbilt Commodores. So, as previously mentioned, shut up, the stupid embedded ad. As previously mentioned, me and my boy Lucas Sharp, we're going to be heading over to Neyland Stadium to watch this game unfold. As Lucas said, we are undefeated whenever me and Lucas are attending the game, so hopefully we're going to try and keep that streak alive. Fellas, there really isn't much talk about Tennessee that I haven't said already. Of course, the situation has been pretty ugly with the offense and how bad it's been, but this is senior night. This is the last hurrah for a lot of these seniors, including, of course, our quarterback, Joe Milton, who I have been very critical of this year. However, this is the last game. He stuck it out here at Tennessee. I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts that I have on this game. What are y'all's thoughts? Who do y'all think's winning this one? I think we all know the answer, but I want to hear what y'all have to say.
I'm taking us by 50? Literally. It's at home.
Excuse me.
I think Vols by 50.
Yeah, Tennessee will win this game, and we'll win it easily. I mean, Jared, I don't know what Jared's going to do.
Unfortunately, I tried to get Jared on the show tonight, but he is busy. I would have really, really loved for him to be on the show tonight.
Yeah.
We'll get him next time, though.
But yeah, Vandy, I'm pretty sure is supposed to be 11-0. I could be wrong.
Yeah. First, before we do anything else, let's take a minute to admire this soundbite that I got. Just everybody take a listen to this and see. Let's see how well this aged.
Vandy is gonna be at least
6-1.
Well, let's listen to that again. Hold up.
Vandy is gonna be at least 6-1. Vandy is gonna be at least 6-1.
I think you need to play it one more time.
Vandy is gonna be at least 6-1.
Huh. It gets funnier every time you listen to it.
Yeah.
Especially because for those of you that aren't in the Legion of College Football Discord server, join that. I think I have it in the description. Join that Discord server. We have a great time in there. But one of our mods in there, every time Vanderbilt loses, which they've lost a bunch, every time they lose, he drops that segment in to remind that Vandy is not 6-1 or anywhere near that. They're sitting there at what 2-9. Boy, they're something terrible. They are terrible.
Yeah, losing to UNLV.
Hey, I mean UNLV is what, like 8-2, so
yeah, but
9-2.
Yeah, but they play in the Mountain West.
I mean, I know. I was just saying, not your typical UNLV team.
Yeah, really. Before we get back to this, Julio, did you know that Xavier Legette is back? I feel like you mentioned.
Is he?
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. Yeah, he's back. He caught that game-winning touchdown against Kentucky. Andrew in the textbook pointed that out in the comments. I thought he was back,
all right.
which is I thought he was. I just didn't know. That's why I didn't say anything about it. But yeah, turns out.
See, here's the thing. I thought he was still injured because I hadn't heard much about it. But then again, I haven't heard much from South Carolina fans this year. So.
When I watched the end of that game, I thought it was the running back who caught that touchdown. I guess I just didn't look hard enough. Okay. Anyway, back to this here. So. Yeah, been a bad year for Vanderbilt. A.J. Swan, 93 of 173, 1,290 yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They're coming off of a bye week because, their last game was against South Carolina, and they got spanky-wankied in that one, 47-6. And if you lose to South Carolina like that, there's just no shot you have of winning anything, any type of SEC game. As we kind of expected with Vanderbilt, but this would be a great senior night game. A last hurrah for most of our seniors. I'm looking forward to seeing just Tennessee just outright dominate this game, and then hopefully once the scores run up enough, we'll get some Nico action to go along with it. I of course made my rant about how Nico should start and the fact that Joe Milton blah 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 blah. But now that Now that the Georgia game's passed, now that the Mizzou game's passed, now that we know that we're not going, we're in a scenario where it's not going to matter anyway. So in my opinion, I think we should just let the seniors ride this one out. And then there are probably going to be some of them that, declare for the draft, won't play in the bowl game. And that would be a good time to let Nico come in and play the entire game.
Yeah, this game is basically meaningless. I mean, the only reason we would want to win is just to avoid the embarrassment of losing to Vanderbilt. That's the only thing we gain from winning this
But
game.
like I said at the start of the stream, we can beat Vanderbilt with our hands tied behind our back. We won't have any issue in this game.
Yeah.
It's Vanderbilt, so take from that what you will. So now that we've wrapped that up, let's get a final score prediction. What's y'all's score prediction for this game?
I mean, last year we beat them 56-0.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Tennessee. I'm gonna go Tennessee 52, Vanderbilt 3.
Pay attention.
I think-
No, pay attention to that because your score prediction's important in this because you covered that against UConn when we went to that game, and well, you were right on the money. So I'm gonna pay attention to that score prediction. Julio, what's yours?
59-2.
Oh, do you think they get a safety?
That's
I think maybe they'll pin us. They'll pin us and get a safety.
59-2. Now, that would be a Vandy score. Oh man, what am I gonna go with? Got to be honest, I think because of how many injuries he suffered on defense, I don't think we hold Vanderbilt scoreless this time. I think they get some points up on the board. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna be as lenient to Vanderbilt man as I can, and I'm gonna go on a limb and say Tennessee wins this game. I'm gonna go 62-17. That's my final score. I think Tennessee just continues to run up the score on Vandy, and they have no because it's going to be a lot like last year. I think Tennessee has. I don't even think Milton will have to throw the ball a lot. I think we'll just control the game through running the ball. Maybe D will get himself a special team.
Oh, Squid,
So-
I think.
Yeah, no, I had to cut out there. Somebody barged into my room. But yeah, this is why I need my own apartment. Somebody did this. Somebody did that again when I was in another person's show. Anyway, what was I saying? Talking about Tennessee controlling the run. Yeah. So Tennessee should control this game from start to finish. I don't think we'll have any issue doing that. Even without some of our big players on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think it should be any problem stopping Vanderbilt for the majority of this game. So with all that being said, yeah, give me the Vols to win this game. Very, very big. All right, then. Well, fellas, I think that's about it. I think we're going to wrap up the show here and call it a night. Would y'all say that is the right move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I said before, make sure to give this a like and sub up to Squidtard Sports if you haven't already. And make sure to check out these great fellas here, Lucas Sharp and Julio Rodriguez. They're very active on Twitter. You can go check them out. Now, I will warn you ahead of time, if you are an opposing fan and you're considering following Lucas Sharp on Twitter, just be wary that he will do a lot of trolling, ranting,
Yeah.
mix of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, Julio, you have your Twitter spaces.
Yeah, I hadn't been active as much, mostly because I got caught up in work and stuff like that, so I hadn't been active for
Join the club.
probably the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's I'm in academic hell as of now because, of course, with the semester coming to a close here at UT, they're forcing pretty much everything down my throat before exams. So I'm going to try and balance that out as best as I can. And for those of you waiting for content on the main channel, I know it's been a while. I've been so focused on this channel. I've been hyper-focused on this channel. I haven't been really doing anything on the other channel. I'm going to try and make some content for that this week. I can't promise I'll have much of anything out because I'll be, of course, doing schoolwork and then I'll be out with family for Thanksgiving. You get the idea. But I'm going to try and do my very best. Pick'em's coming out Wednesday. Preview for this game coming out Thursday, and then of course the Vanderbilt hate video coming out Friday night. So make sure to check all those out. And as always, thank you guys again for watching. And you guys have any finalizing thoughts?
All I just gotta say is go Vols, beat Vandy, and well, I guess beat Purdue tomorrow in basketball.
Oh, speaking of basketball, did Kentucky lose yet?
No, they're up by 5 right now, but St. Joseph's has got the ball.
Ooh, I don't know about that. That's pretty interesting. Julio, any final words?
Yeah, I think Lucas covered it all. I guess, like I said, like he said, go Vols, beat Purdue, and beat Vandy.
Excuse me. Yeah, but he said, thank you guys again. I know I said it like a bunch of times, but I really, I really appreciate y'all joining in here on this stream. You choose. We don't force anybody to watch this show. We kind of just do our own thing here and go down the line and talk about all the topics that I have listed. We don't force anybody to watch this show. So for you to take the time and jump on in and be with us while we go through our motions, I am greatly appreciative of that. Yeah, I appreciate all of you. Love all of you. Even the Georgia trolls, who, surprisingly enough, we have yet to see any on the stream. That is very surprising, I will say. But, regardless of where you came from, I hope you stick around. And as for the Vanderbilt man, even though you're going to get absolutely annihilated on Saturday, I hope you guys stick around too. All right, thank you guys again for watching. We'll see y'all next time. As always, power to Tardaria, and more importantly, go Vols. And shout out to BVD too, because I don't know where he's at. I think he's in the hospital, so I'll go ahead and use this one for him. Go Vols, screw y'alls. We'll see y'all on Saturday, Vandy Wandy.